Imagine this. The wind howls, the cold bites, and the days seem endlessly grey. Life's winter arc has arrived, bringing with it trials that test your spirit, your patience, and your resolve. But here's the truth. Tough seasons aren't meant to break you. They're designed to forge you. The Stoics knew this well. They walked through their own winters with unshakable calm, not because they were spared from life's hardships, but because they understood how to face them head-on. They saw adversity not as an enemy, but as a sparring partner, a force that sharpens the blade of character. In this video, I'll show you how to embrace life's toughest seasons with the same unwavering mindset. These are not just ancient teachings, they are battle-tested strategies for modern resilience. From fortifying your mind before the storm hits to finding strength in discomfort, this is your blueprint for thriving when the world feels cold and unyielding. This isn't just about surviving winter. It's about learning to dominate it, to walk through the frost and emerge stronger, sharper, and more prepared for whatever comes next. Welcome to your winter arc. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Fortify the mind before the storm arrives. A seasoned general never waits for the enemy to attack before planning their defense. They strategize, anticipate, and visualize every possible scenario. The Stoics approached life's challenges in the same way. They knew that adversity is not a question of if, but when, and when it comes, the unprepared are swept away, while the prepared stand firm, unshaken by the storm. This is where the practice of premeditatio malorum becomes indispensable. The premeditation of evils is not an exercise in pessimism or self-inflicted anxiety. It is a deliberate, disciplined rehearsal for the inevitable hardships of life. Picture yourself at the helm of a ship with dark clouds gathering on the horizon. A novice captain might hope the storm passes by, but a wise captain knows better. They prepare for impact. Close your eyes and envision the trials that could lie ahead. The loss of a job, a sudden betrayal, a loved one's illness, financial hardship, the moments that could shake you to your core. Now, ask yourself, how would I respond? What steps would I take? How would I protect my peace, my integrity, and my resolve in the face of such storms? When you do this, you're not inviting misfortune, you're disarming it. By confronting these possibilities in your mind, you diminish their power over you. Fear thrives on surprise, on catching you off guard. But when you've walked through the storm in your imagination, it loses its ability to paralyze you. You've already fought this battle in your head. The real thing? It's just a second run through. Seneca reminds us, the man who has anticipated calamities suffers them once. The man who has not suffers them twice, both in reality and in dread. The Stoics knew that suffering is compounded by our resistance to it. But when you familiarize yourself with hardship, the sting of the unknown disappears. Think of it like a sparring match before a fight. In sparring, you test your limits, you take hits, and you learn to adapt. By the time the real fight arrives, you've conditioned yourself to face it with confidence. Life is no different. When the winter arc comes, when the winds howl and the cold bites, you'll find yourself standing steady, not because the storm is any less severe, but because you've trained for it. Now, let's take this further. Don't just imagine the challenges. Imagine the growth that comes from them. If you lose something valuable, how will you use that loss to strengthen your resilience? If you face rejection, how will you leverage it to become more self-reliant? Every potential hardship carries within it the seed of transformation. But that transformation is only possible if you prepare yourself to recognize it, to seize it when the time comes. Preparation is not about dwelling in fear. It's about stepping into the eye of the storm with eyes wide open, fully aware of what's at stake, and fully prepared to respond with grace and courage. You're not bracing for impact, you're shaping yourself into a force that the storm itself cannot move. So, the question isn't whether you'll face a winter arc in your life. You will. The real question is, Will you be ready? Will you crumble under its weight, or will you rise, fortified by the mental armor you've carefully constructed? The time to start building that armor is now. The storms of life are indifferent to your readiness, but you don't have to be. Prepare, and when the winds come, you'll meet them with unshakable resolve. Lesson 2. Master your sphere of control. In the heart of a storm, the untrained mind scatters in all directions. It worries about the howling wind, the crashing waves, and the relentless cold. But the Stoic mind, it narrows its focus like a warrior on the battlefield, concerned only with the fight within reach. This is the essence of mastering your sphere of control. Epictetus taught, some things are up to us and some things are not. Within this simple truth lies immense power. Most of life's frustrations stem from trying to control the uncontrollable, other people's opinions, the outcome of events, even the weather. Yet, none of these lie within our command. The Stoic sees this and chooses to focus solely on what can be governed, their own thoughts, actions, and responses. Imagine being caught in a snowstorm. You can't stop the snow from falling, nor can you command the wind to be still. But you can choose to keep moving, to find shelter, to preserve your warmth. Life operates the same way. When challenges strike, you cannot dictate their presence, but you can dictate how you face them. This perspective is liberating. You stop wasting energy fighting battles you can't win and instead direct your full strength toward what truly matters. In doing so, you regain control over your life, not by controlling everything, but by mastering your response to anything. Now, let's make this practical. Start by listing the things troubling you right now. How many of them fall outside your sphere of control? The opinions of others, unforeseen obstacles, the outcomes of your efforts? Acknowledge them, then release them. They are not yours to carry. Instead, shift your focus to what is firmly within your grasp, your discipline, your mindset, your actions in the present moment. This is not a passive retreat, but an active command of your internal world. It's about standing in the chaos and saying, "This is where my power lies, and I will use it wisely." The Stoics knew that while external events are unpredictable, the human spirit is unyielding when properly directed. Marcus Aurelius exemplified this principle during his reign as emperor. Faced with wars, plagues, and political unrest, he could not control the external turmoil. Yet he controlled himself, his decisions, his leadership, his steadfast adherence to virtue. In doing so, he became a beacon of calm in a world of chaos. Life will always throw storms your way. Some you will anticipate, and others will blindside you. But the lesson remains the same: focus on what you can do, on who you can become in the face of hardship. Master your sphere of control, and you will find that no storm, no winter can shake your foundation. Remember this: the storm outside may rage, but the storm within is yours to command. Lesson 3. Accept winter's place in the cycle of life. Winter isn't an anomaly. It's not some mistake of nature, nor is it a punishment. It's a season, just like any other, with its own purpose and place in the grand cycle of life. The Stoics understood this deeply. They saw every hardship, every trial, as a natural and necessary part of existence, and they taught that true strength comes not from resisting these cycles, but from accepting them fully. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What happens to every man is natural. If you rail against it, you will only hurt yourself." This isn't a call to passivity, it's a call to wisdom. Winter, both literal and metaphorical, has a role to play. It strips away the unnecessary, tests your resilience, and prepares you for growth when spring eventually comes. Think about the natural world. Trees lose their leaves in winter, not as a sign of death, but as a strategy for survival. Beneath the surface, their roots grow deeper, their strength quietly building. The harshness of the season is not an ending, but a preparation for renewal. Life operates in much the same way. Tough seasons aren't there to break you, they're there to refine you. Resistance, however, is where suffering multiplies. When we fight against the natural order, wishing life were easier, clinging to comfort, or denying the reality of hardship, we create unnecessary pain. The Stoic instead embraces life's winters as essential chapters in their story. They accept the cold and scarcity, not with resignation but with understanding. This is how they remain calm amidst the storm. Now, let's talk about how to cultivate this acceptance. Start by changing your perspective on hardship. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Every challenge, every difficult season carries a lesson. Perhaps it's patience, perhaps it's resilience, perhaps it's learning to let go of what you cannot control. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop striving or growing. On the contrary, it frees up your energy to focus on what matters most. You stop wasting time and effort on resisting the inevitable and start using that energy to adapt, to endure, and to build. Marcus Aurelius, during his reign, faced war, betrayal, and plague. He did not waste time lamenting the unfairness of these trials. Instead, he accepted them as part of the natural order and focused on responding with wisdom and virtue. Through acceptance, he found clarity, even in chaos. In your own life, acceptance might look like acknowledging that certain struggles are beyond your control, like a difficult relationship, a health setback, or a financial downturn. Instead of denying or fighting these realities, embrace them as opportunities for growth. Understand that winter is temporary, but its lessons are eternal. Remember, the cycle of life is unyielding. Winter will come just as surely as spring will follow. When you learn to accept this rhythm, you stop fearing the cold and start appreciating its role in your journey. Tough seasons are not your enemy. They are your teacher. Accept them, and you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more prepared for whatever lies ahead. Lesson 4. Build strength through discomfort. Comfort is a deceptive trap. It lulls you into complacency, making you soft, unprepared for life's inevitable challenges. The Stoics knew this well. They believed that true strength comes not from avoiding discomfort, but from embracing it, from willingly stepping into the cold, the difficult, and the unknown. Discomfort is not your enemy, it's your greatest ally in forging resilience. Seneca practiced voluntary discomfort. He would sleep on the floor, wear simple clothes, and eat the too, because he had to, but because he wanted to remind himself of what he could endure. He understood that by exposing himself to discomfort, he was training his mind to remain unshaken by life's hardships. He famously asked, "Is this the condition I so feared?" Think about that. Most of our fears are rooted in the anticipation of discomfort, not the reality of it. We fear loss, failure, rejection, yet when these moments arrive, we often realize they're not as insurmountable as we imagined. The Stoic practice of leaning into discomfort strips away its power. It teaches you that you're far more capable than you give yourself credit for. Now, how do you apply this in your life? Start small. Take cold showers to build resilience against physical discomfort. Practice fasting to remind yourself that hunger is not the end of the world. Wake up earlier than usual to reclaim your time and train your shan. These might seem like minor inconveniences, but they build an unshakable core. Each time you choose discomfort, you're telling yourself, "I am stronger than this." But this isn't just about physical discomfort. Emotional discomfort is equally important. I have that difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Face your fears of failure by trying something new. Allow yourself to feel the sting of rejection without running from it. Every time you confront discomfort, you grow stronger, more adaptable, more resilient. Marcus Aurelius lived this philosophy. As an emperor, he could have surrounded himself with luxury and ease. Instead, he chose a life of discipline and service, constantly pushing himself to rise above the challenges of his position. He knew that strength was not built in comfort, but in the crucible of hardship. Understand this. Discomfort is not a punishment, it's a privilege. It's life's way of sharpening your character. of preparing you for the greater trials ahead. Each time you step into discomfort, you're building the mental and physical endurance needed to withstand life's winters. You're training yourself to thrive in conditions that would break others. In the end, the question isn't whether you'll face discomfort, it's whether you'll use it to your advantage. Embrace it. Seek it out. Let it mold you into someone who can face any storm with courage and confidence. The path of least resistance might be easy, but it won't make you strong. True strength is built through discomfort, and the Stoic warrior knows this better than anyone. Lesson 5. Cultivate inner peace through detachment. In the coldest winters, when the world outside is harsh and unforgiving, your inner peace becomes the only refuge that truly matters. But peace is not something you stumble upon by accident. It is cultivated deliberately, with discipline, through detachment. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that peace doesn't come from controlling the world around you, but from mastering your response to it. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means not allowing external circumstances to define your inner state. Life will throw its fair share of challenges your way, some expected, some completely unforeseen. But the Stoics' power lies in their ability to maintain composure regardless of what happens outside of themselves. Think of it like the immovable center of a storm. Around you chaos reigns, but within you remain unshaken. You do not cling to the fleeting pleasures of the world, whether they are material possessions, fleeting relationships, or transient successes, because you understand that these things are impermanent. Instead, you focus on what is within your control, your thoughts, your principles, your integrity. Marcus Aurelius, despite his immense power as emperor, constantly reminded himself that all external things, his status, his wealth, his position, were fleeting. In his meditations, he wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." He knew that by detaching from the need for external validation, he could preserve his peace and focus on what truly mattered: virtue, wisdom, and strength. But detachment isn't passive. It doesn't mean you stop caring about life or become numb to its ups and downs. It simply means that you refuse to let external circumstances determine your emotional well-being. When you are detached, you can navigate even the most difficult situations without being swept away by anger, fear, or despair. You engage with life fully, but without clinging to outcomes. You let go of the need for control, and in doing so, find an inner peace that no external storm can disturb. To cultivate this peace, start by observing where you are emotionally attached to things outside of your control. Is it your job, your image, your relationships? Recognize that the more tightly you grip these things, the more vulnerable you become to disappointment and suffering. Instead, practice letting go. Engage in the things that bring you joy or fulfillment, but do so without attachment. Understand that all things are temporary. This is not a call to disengage from life, but to fully engage while remaining anchored in your own peace. Detachment also involves letting go of the need for approval or validation. This is especially crucial in tough seasons. When life is hard, it's easy to seek comfort or recognition from others. But the Stoic doesn't need applause. They seek no praise, no affirmation from the outside world. Their peace comes from within, from knowing they are doing what is right, regardless of the recognition it may or may not receive. As you face the inevitable winters of life, remember this: true peace is not found in external circumstances, but in the cultivation of inner calm. Detach from the things that are beyond your control, and you will find that no external storm can shake you. When the winds howl and the cold bites, you will remain unmoved, standing strong in the warmth of your own peace. Lesson 6. Embrace the power of self-discipline. In the harshest winters, survival is not guaranteed by external forces, but by the strength within. It is discipline, the unwavering commitment to act according to your highest principles, that will see you through the darkest days. The Stoics recognized this truth long ago. The battle is won within. If you can master yourself, no external storm can topple you. Self-discipline is the quiet force that shapes your character, the daily practice that prepares you for greater challenges. Without it, you are a ship without a rudder, tossed about by the whims of the wind. With it, you are the captain of your own vessel, steering steadily even when the seas are rough. The Stoics did not believe in waiting for inspiration or favorable conditions to act. They understood that action and resolve in the face of hardship were the true measures of strength. Consider the life of Epictetus, who endured slavery and hardship yet maintained control over his mind and choices. He famously said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." His life was a testament to the power of discipline, not just physical, but mental discipline. When everything else was taken from him, he still had the power to choose his thoughts and actions. Self-discipline is not an act of deprivation, but of empowerment. It is the ability to prioritize your long-term values over short-term impulses. The desire for comfort, pleasure, or distraction will always be present. But the disciplined Stoic knows that giving in to these impulses weakens their resolve and distracts them from their higher purpose. By denying these fleeting pleasures and choosing what is best for you in the long term, you build inner strength, fortifying your character against the inevitable hardships of life. This means making small, deliberate choices every day that align with your goals and principles. It might look like waking up early to start your day with intention, staying consistent in your exercise and diet, or taking the time to reflect on your actions and improve upon them. Each of these actions strengthens your ability to withstand the tough seasons of life. But true self-discipline isn't about rigid control or self-punishment. It's about cultivating habits that nurture your growth and align with your values. It's about the quiet strength that rises from within when you consistently choose what is right over what is easy. It's about recognizing that while external forces can shake your world, the inner discipline you build becomes an unshakable foundation. When winter arrives, the undisciplined person will feel overwhelmed, adrift without a compass. But the disciplined Stoic stands firm, grounded in their daily habits, their commitment to virtue, and their understanding that hardship is just another opportunity for growth. Start today. Identify areas in your life where discipline can be strengthened, whether that's in your work, your relationships, or your personal growth. Commit to small, consistent actions that align with your highest goals. Each time you practice discipline, you build the resilience and strength necessary to endure the toughest winters. Remember, discipline is not a punishment. It is the tool that allows you to thrive amidst adversity. Lesson 7. Find meaning in adversity. When life turns cold and the winds of hardship howl, the Stoic doesn't just endure, they seek meaning. They understand that no winter, no matter how brutal, is without purpose. It is the challenges we face that shape our character, deepen our wisdom, and ultimately define who we are. The Stoic embraces adversity not as something to fear, but as an opportunity to cultivate strength and virtue. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, often reminded himself that everything that happens, both good and bad, is part of nature's design. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This profound insight reveals that obstacles aren't mere disruptions, they are the very path to growth. Every challenge is an invitation to rise above, to use adversity as fuel for personal development. Think of the most difficult moments in your life, those moments when everything seemed to fall apart. Now reflect on how they shaped you. Perhaps they taught you patience, resilience, or humility. Maybe they forced you to confront your own weaknesses or limitations, pushing you to grow in ways you never imagined. The Stoic sees these moments not as setbacks, but as lessons, as essential parts of their journey toward wisdom. Adversity then becomes a tool, a teacher, a forge for your soul. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but by approaching it with the right mindset, you can extract meaning from even the most challenging situations. This doesn't mean you should seek out suffering for its own sake, but it does mean that when hardship comes knocking, you greet it with open eyes, ready to learn from it rather than resist it. In practical terms, this means looking at each setback or difficulty and asking, what can I learn from this? Instead of bemoaning the cold of winter or wishing for an easier season, embrace the idea that these struggles are shaping you into a stronger, wiser person. Even when things seem unfair or harsh, remember that you have the power to choose your perspective. The Stoic understands that all things are interconnected, and that what may appear to be a misfortune may, in reality, be the very thing that leads to greater wisdom, strength, or understanding. The key is in how you interpret the experience. You can either view hardship as a burden or as an opportunity. The Stoic always chooses the latter, finding meaning in every moment of struggle. Let's take a moment to reflect. The next time life feels like it's turning against you, when the winter of hardship arrives, ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Instead of resisting, look for the lesson within the difficulty. In doing so, you'll transform each obstacle into a stepping stone on your path toward becoming the best version of yourself. Adversity doesn't weaken you, it strengthens you. Every hardship is a test, a challenge to rise higher, to grow deeper, and to find meaning in the coldest of seasons. When you embrace this truth, you will find that no winter is without purpose. The Stoics' approach to adversity is not one of passive endurance, but of active transformation, turning every struggle into a source of personal growth. Lesson 8. Practice gratitude, even in the darkest moments. In the midst of winter, it's easy to focus only on the cold, the bleakness, and the harshness of the season. But the Stoic knows that even in the darkest moments, there is always something to be grateful for. Gratitude is not a response to favorable circumstances. It is a choice, a discipline, a way of seeing the world with clear eyes, even when it seems bleak. The Stoic cultivates a deep appreciation for what is, rather than fixating on what is missing. Seneca, in his letters, taught the importance of counting the blessings we already have, rather than longing for what we don't. He wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality. So often we get caught in a cycle of discontent, focusing on what we lack or what we fear losing." But the Stoic perspective shifts this mindset. Gratitude is the antidote to this endless longing. By recognizing and appreciating what we already possess, we create a sense of abundance, even when outward circumstances may suggest otherwise. Consider this: what if the very things you complain about today are the same things that others would give anything to have? In winter, we might complain about the cold, the long nights, and the isolation. But what if we took a moment to appreciate the warmth of our homes, the companionship of friends and family, or even the quiet stillness that winter brings? In every hardship, there is an opportunity for gratitude, for recognizing that even in tough times, we have something valuable to hold on to. Gratitude doesn't mean you ignore the difficulty of the season or pretend that everything is perfect. It means you focus on what is good, even amidst the challenges. It's about finding the hidden blessings within every situation, even when it feels like nothing is going right. It's the recognition that, though the storm may rage outside, there is still warmth in your heart, still purpose in your life, and still lessons to be learned. One practice the Stoics recommended was the daily reflection on what went well, even if the day itself was difficult. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius would reflect at the end of each day on what he had done well, what had been positive, and what he could improve. This practice not only helps cultivate gratitude, but also keeps us grounded in the present moment, reminding us that there is always something to be thankful for, no matter how small. So, when winter feels particularly harsh, take a moment to pause and ask yourself, what is there to be grateful for in this moment? Even if it feels like everything is against you, there is always something that has value, something worth appreciating. Gratitude shifts your perspective, helping you to see the lessons and the blessings in every experience, no matter how difficult. In times of hardship, gratitude is your shield. It fortifies you against the despair that can come with tough seasons. It reminds you that even in the depths of winter, you are rich in ways that can't be measured by external circumstances. When you choose gratitude, you open yourself up to the beauty and the lessons that are hidden in even the darkest of days. Lesson 9. Master your response to external circumstances. In the midst of life's storms, we often find ourselves frustrated by things that are beyond our control, the actions of others, the state of the world, the weather, or the difficulties that seem to arise at the worst possible times. The Stoic, however, knows that the key to peace is recognizing the boundaries of your power and focusing solely on what lies within your control. This is a fundamental lesson for surviving the harshest seasons, both literal and metaphorical. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, famously taught that we should concern ourselves only with what we can control: our thoughts, our actions, our responses. Everything outside of that, he advised, is not our business. He said, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. This simple yet powerful distinction shifts the focus from frustration and helplessness to empowerment. When you focus on what you can control, you stop wasting energy on things that only drain you. You stop worrying about what others think, how the weather will affect your plans, or how circumstances are working against you. Instead, you turn your attention inward to the one thing that can always be shaped: your own mindset, your own choices, your own actions. Think about winter. The cold, the darkness, the isolation, all of these are beyond your control. But what is within your control? Your response to it. You can choose to see winter as a season of hardship or as a time of introspection and growth. You can decide whether to let the cold keep you indoors or whether to embrace it, to find ways to adapt and to learn from it. The power lies in how you choose to respond. By focusing on what you can control, you free yourself from the constant struggle against forces that are beyond your reach. This not only reduces your anxiety, but also allows you to act with intention rather than reacting out of frustration or fear. You take ownership of your life instead of feeling like a victim of external circumstances. This Stoic practice requires mindfulness. It demands that you continuously ask yourself, what is within my power right now? If you are facing a challenge, ask yourself, what can I do to make this better? Even if the situation feels overwhelming, ask yourself, how can I choose to respond in a way that aligns with my values? The answers lie within you, not in the circumstances. When you focus on what you can control, you realize that you always have the ability to change your thoughts, to adjust your behavior, to shift your perspective. This mental freedom gives you the resilience to face tough seasons with courage and clarity. Whether you're dealing with the cold, the pressure of your work, or the challenges in your relationships, your response is what ultimately defines the outcome. So, in the coldest winter, don't waste energy wishing for warmer days or fighting against what cannot be changed. Instead, focus on what you can control: your actions, your mindset, your choices. By mastering these, you become the ruler of your own destiny, unwavering in the face of the storm. Lesson 10. Prepare for the worst, expect the best. In the winter of life, there is wisdom in anticipating the storm. While others may bury their heads in the sand or hope for the best without preparation, the Stoic leader understands that it is not a question of if hardship will come, but when. Winter is not something to be feared or avoided, it is something to be prepared for. And yet, preparation is not about living in constant dread, but about accepting the impermanence of good times and preparing ourselves to weather the inevitable downturns with grace and resilience. Seneca, in his letters, advocated for the practice of premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. By visualizing the potential hardships ahead, we prepare ourselves mentally, emotionally, and practically for the challenges life will throw at us. This is not a negative outlook, rather it is a rational approach that arms us with the mental toughness to handle whatever comes our way. When we prepare for adversity, we reduce its power to surprise and overwhelm us. But just as important as preparing for the worst is expecting the best. The Stoic does not dwell in pessimism or hopelessness. Instead, we maintain hope and trust in our ability to adapt and thrive. We prepare for the worst but keep our eyes open for opportunities and moments of growth, even in the midst of struggle. By striking this balance between preparation and optimism, we position ourselves to handle challenges when they arrive without letting them define our sense of peace or purpose. Think of it like preparing for a winter storm. You may not be able to stop the cold or the snow, but you can make sure you have what you need: warm clothing, food, shelter, and the resolve to endure. You don't live in fear of the storm. Instead, you accept its inevitability and equip yourself accordingly. And when the storm passes, as all storms do, you emerge stronger, wiser, and better prepared for the future. This lesson calls on you to embrace the duality of preparation and expectation. Prepare for adversity not with fear, but with calm confidence that you can overcome. Expect the best, trusting that your preparation will equip you to face challenges head-on. In the face of hardship, the Stoic leader is unshaken, not because they are blind to the difficulties ahead, but because they are ready for them. In practical terms, this means developing the mental habits that allow you to respond to challenges without panic or despair. Rather than waiting for things to fall apart, you take proactive steps to ensure that you're as prepared as possible. This could mean saving for difficult times, strengthening your emotional resilience, or learning new skills that will help you handle future setbacks. You prepare for the worst, but in doing so, you position yourself to expect the best outcomes. So, in the cold of winter, when the world around you seems bleak, remember that the Stoic is not caught off guard. They have prepared, they have fortified their mind and spirit, and they stand ready to face whatever the season brings. Lesson 11. Embrace the present moment without clinging to the past or fearing the future. In the face of winter's cold, it's easy to get lost in nostalgia, to yearn for the warmth of past seasons, or to fear the challenges that lie ahead. But the Stoic teaches us that the present moment is the only time we truly have, and it is only through embracing this moment fully that we can achieve peace and strength. The past is gone, the future is uncertain, what remains is the here and now, and it is in this moment that our power lies. Marcus Aurelius in his Meditations wrote, "Don't waste time on what you can't control." He understood that dwelling on past mistakes or future anxieties only steals from the present moment. The Stoic, therefore, does not look back with regret or forward with fear. Instead, they act with purpose in the present, accepting the impermanence of all things and using the current moment to shape their future. Winter, with its stillness, can teach us this valuable lesson. The cold and the quiet can serve as a reminder that the present is a gift, one that cannot be reclaimed once it's gone. The past, like the warmth of summer, has faded. The future, like the coming of spring, is unknown. What remains is what you choose to do with the now. If you waste this moment by dwelling on what you could have done or worrying about what may come, you rob yourself of the power to act and the peace that comes from living in accordance with nature. The Stoics' approach is not one of passive acceptance but of active engagement with the present moment. It is not about ignoring the past or the future, but about recognizing their proper place in the grand scheme of things. The past is a source of lessons, not regrets, and the future is a space for preparation, not anxiety. The only time that belongs to you truly is now, and it is through this moment that your character is built and your path forward is determined. In practical terms, this lesson means becoming mindful of where your thoughts are directed. The next time you find yourself lamenting what has already passed or worrying about what might be ahead, remind yourself, what can I do right now? Whether it's taking a small action to improve your current circumstances or simply pausing to appreciate the present moment, you have the ability to bring yourself back to the now. This is the core of Stoic wisdom, knowing that the present is where your true power lies. When you learn to embrace the present, to make the most of the moment you have, you cultivate a sense of peace that no external circumstance can shake. Whether you are in the depths of winter or enjoying the warmth of summer, the Stoic knows that every moment has value. It is only in the now that we can truly live, grow, and align ourselves with nature's flow. So, the next time you find yourself caught between the shadows of the past or the uncertainties of the future, ground yourself in the present. Embrace the current moment, for it is here that you have the power to act, to grow, and to find peace, no matter how cold the season may be. Lesson 12. Find purpose in every challenge. In every difficulty there lies an opportunity for growth. The Stoic does not see hardship as an obstacle, but as a battle, cairns, and the path to virtue. Winter, with its harshness and trials, offers us a unique chance to forge our strength and deepen our resolve. It is in the struggles, the discomforts, and the challenges of life that we discover our true purpose and the depths of our character. Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Each moment of adversity is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more aligned with our deepest values. The Stoic does not avoid difficulty, they embrace it. They see each trial as an opportunity to practice their virtues: courage, wisdom, and resilience. It is through facing hardship with grace and determination that we grow closer to our highest potential. Think of winter as the training ground for your soul. It's not a season to dread, but one to use to build your inner strength. Just as the hardest winters produce the most resilient trees, so too do our most difficult seasons build us into the person we are meant to become. The Stoic does not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, they ask, "What can I learn from this? What is this challenge teaching me about myself? What is this moment offering me in the way of growth?" By finding purpose in every challenge, we turn every hardship into an opportunity for transformation. In the depths of winter, we have the chance to cultivate resilience. We learn to adapt, to push through discomfort, and to find peace in the midst of struggle. Each challenge is a chance to practice the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within our control and letting go of the rest. It is through embracing difficulty, rather than avoiding it, that we discover our true capacity for growth. As we conclude this exploration of Stoicism and its power to prepare us for the coldest winters, both outside and within, remember this: life's seasons will change. You will face storms, adversity, and times of hardship, but like the Stoics before us, you have the power to rise above the chaos, to find clarity in the chaos, and to emerge from the darkness stronger, wiser, and unshaken. Stoicism teaches us that we are not defined by the challenges we face, but by how we respond to them. The winter arc in all its forms is an opportunity not just for survival, but for growth, for transformation, and for the cultivation of resilience. As you move forward, take these lessons with you: to be mindful of what you control, to embrace the present moment, to prepare for adversity without fearing it, and to use each challenge as fuel for your personal strength. Winter may be harsh, but it is through the cold that the Stoic finds warmth within themselves. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the wisdom of Stoicism. May you face the tough seasons with the strength and clarity of a true Stoic leader. Stay resolute, stay strong, and remember, the power to navigate every storm lies within you.